Hello, it's another week inside Abia with me. Today we'll be looking at one of the basic necessities of human beings as it concerns Abia State. Your Excellency, once again, you're welcome. And thank you for always making yourself available to talk to us and let us know what's happening inside Abia. Yes, Your Excellency, I'd like to talk to you about the government agencies you set up. Can we know what they are and what you set them up for, to what you wanted to achieve with those agencies and how effective they have been since you put them together?
Okay. We have a few agencies. We have the CSDP, Community Social Development Project. We have SOPADEC, which is the Abia State Oil Producing Area Commission.
Abia State is an oil producing state.
Yes. And then we have our Planning Commission and Newmap, which is our Erosion and Watershed Intervention Agency.
So let's take them one by one.
Yes.
Why all these?
These are interventionist agencies that support our linkage and relationship with donor agencies and also adapt us into what the federal government is doing or thinking. Because the fastest strategy to develop a subnational entity is to be sensitive to what the world is doing, as well as be sensitive to what the federal government is doing. And you have to be prepared to walk at the speed of light. Because if you don't respond quickly, you may not be part of it, as it were.
The other
ASOPADEC.
Yes.
ASOPADEC is the agency that is dedicated to the welfare of the oil producing communities in Abia State.
You know, I really didn't think of Abia State as an oil producing state.
And I don't like to see us as one too, because
it becomes a problem when people start to have that mentality.
Beyond that, I'm looking for economy after oil. There are things we do better. This oil, I mean, it is arguable. Is it a blessing to Nigeria or a curse? It depends on how you look at it. So we want to see if we can fly without the support of oil. But having said that, we have SOPADEC. SOPADEC intervenes in 5 major thematic areas.
That's for the oil producing areas alone.
Yes, their major interest is the oil producing communities, but we get them to also intervene in other communities depending on how hard they cry or how urgent or acute the problem is. So they have done, they do classroom blocks, several of them, I'm sure, several of them. And still along the line of education, they award scholarships, I'm sure over 1,500 for young people from oil producing communities and local governments. And they embarked on massive skill acquisition, I'm sure more than 2,500.
And this is outside what the state.
This is outside what this
is just them.
Everything
you're saying
they
now.
even go granular to buy JAM forms, WASC forms for thousands of young people. It is something also that has a time frame. People who say that no time is late for education must also say with focus. And not everybody can remain focused all their lives. You can get distracted by
so many things.
When you begin to raise children when you begin to work too hard, and all of that. So you need to develop your mental capacity, So they are intervening huge.
So this SOPADEC is it an independent body?
Sure.
It operates independently.
Yes, by law, a chunk of Abia State allocation goes to them, and they do these interventionist jobs. And under my watch, I'm happy to say that they were able to develop their own secretariat. They built a massive edifice. This is the SOPADEC building.
Well, as you can see, it's a very beautiful edifice. It's a place everyone would long to come to. If I should talk about where I was coming from, I can't really compare it to where I am today.
This commission has had, in the past, carried out their daily function in a rented apartment. About 30 people were staying in one room. You can imagine the head of the department with 30 other people in a room. One cannot concentrate to work.
So that's even one of the reasons why, for me personally, I have to put in my best just to make sure that I justify my stay in this office and in this complex. And for the general staff, they're all happy to be here, to have a very conducive environment to work. I appreciate the Governor, Dr. Okezebiti Bazu, for all that he is doing in the state. The governor has really gone a long way, not just to promote the socio-economic welfare of everyone, but to make sure that the state and the general well-being of everyone remains the best.
In electricity, I'm sure they've donated well over 50 transformers and supported more than 100 communities to hook onto the national grid. In terms of health, they build primary health care centers. They support immunization. And also they support gully erosion interventions and roads, a lot of rural roads for grading. But I have also seen some asphalted roads done by Asopadec. So if you take a stock of their interventions, it's beautiful.
And our vision is to give the people of this oil producing area a sense of belonging in terms of recognition of their input into the economy of the state and then of the nation in good health, in good roads, in education, in amenities and in infrastructure.
So the other Newmap.
Yes. Newmap is our intervention agency when it comes to erosion and stormwater management. Yes. They have done quite a lot. Their own volume in terms of expenditure is huge.
Several studies by multilateral agencies across the globe gave the southeast of Nigeria as the gully headquarters of the whole world. Anambra is the worst hit, followed by Enugu and then Abia. Newmap is an acronym. It stands for Nigeria Erosion and Watershed Management Project. Saddled with the responsibility of handling gully erosion in any area that is targeted and mapped out. It is state-owned, it is state-led, but it has funding support from the World Bank.
We have huge erosion control interventions in Umunnochi. We have in Isialangwa North. We have in Umuahia North. We have massive erosion intervention activity in Abia area and other places.
Our first site is in Umezuku Sulu in Isialangwa North local government area, and it's a gully that's formed on the road between Umezuku and Umezenta in that community.
There's a village here, there's a village up here. This village is known as Umezuku in Isialangwa. This one is in Baose, same Isialangwa. But it happened that this particular area was cut off. So these people cannot access to this side, these other people cannot access. Even you cannot even go with your bare foot.
Before now, our community has been cut off from our neighbors due to massive erosion gully. This road wasn't passable previously before. It wasn't passable either by pedestrians, cyclists, or talkless of vehicles.
Governor Kesia did two very frantic things. The entire land was fully recovered, and the road along which that gully developed, the Umezenta road from Umezuku, was also restored. Energy dissipating structures, drainage channels, stealing basins, big culverts were all built to make sure that we can harvest stormwater and give it easy passage. And after doing that, we did a very large dose of bioremediation using plants to hold the soil together. So we planted vetiver grasses and other exotic species of plants within that area. So after remediating the gully, the community called for further assistance in asphalting that stretch of road. So a total length of road 2.5 kilometers with adequate drainage was done in that community along that corridor by Governor Kesi Pazo.
Today, the gully that was a nightmare has become a thing of the past. We can now move freely among our communities. The farmers can now do their work. Small businesses are now springing up by the roadside, made it impossible for our children to go to school. What the governor has done to the community is something that we don't even know which words to use to qualify the achievement recorded in our community.
Ndị Umezuku Nsulu, or even ndị ụmụnna Nsulu niile ntụ ụtụ in the next 100 years, we cannot get the money. Our satellite, water project, the whole community now solar powered. We no longer depend on NEPA to use this water. So we're asking him to go ahead and do the needful. He has been so good to us.
Now, our second site is located at Umolege Azụahịa in Amuzukwu Ibeku. It's a valley that developed soon after the Civil War because some storm water from the city were all channeled to that area.
Ahamobo Eze John Onyebuchi Ibezim Abumeze Amuzukwu Ibeku Autonomous Community. Amuzukwu Ibeku bụ Umuahia Urban Ward 2 and Ward 3. Ife anyị mfụrụ na ọbụba anyị na-akpọ ebe ahụ Oriete. Ebe ahụ bụ Market Square, ahịa Orie, ahịa na-azụ azụ ebe a. Ị ga-ekwe ihe dị otu ahụ dị ebe ahụ. Ọbụba o riri ihe karịrị field 3. Ọ chụrụ mba. Enwekwa ndị nwụrụ anwụ, ndị na-ehi ụra n'abalị ọbụba ahụ zegidim were ha. Onwe ebe anyị agabeghị, onwe ihe anyị emebeghị. Anyị ga-werezi onwe anyị nyefere Chineke. Maka ife gọọmenti niile gara anọ, onwe nke nwere ike ime ihe ọbụla.
Before now, nobody was passing here. Rather, we prefer running around through Asaba Street to get to Amuzukwu. It just totally cut off from Amuzukwu, entire Amuzukwu here. Because of that, we were seen as if we are not part of Amuzukwu, that we are another village.
Ọbụba bulichere ụlọ dị m ndị ebe a, ma ahịa anyị ma nga anyị na-arụ ọrụ. Anyị enweghị ebe anyị na-arụ ọrụ. Ma mmiri anyị na-aṅụ mmiri adịkwa mma.
Ebibu m na this one village a na-akpọ Mbom through Ozakwa ka a na-aga, and Ozakwa one of the shortest road anyị nọ Nigeria aga by Mbom. So mgbe erosion bịara na-enye nsogbu here, ọ kọtụrụ ụzọ n'ihu ebe. O nwere ụzọ nọ n'azụ ebe ọ kọtụkwara ụzọ ya. So ya emezie ebe anọ na-agakwa ya otu anọ na-agakwa ya mgbe mbụ. So ya emezie anyị ịba ebe ahụ bi na dị anya.
His Excellency Governor Okezi Ikpeazu did an intervention, a very beautiful intervention in that community through our activities that saw to the remediation of the gully in that community, the construction of a community civic center for them, the sinking of a borehole for the community at the job site, and the establishment of solar-powered street lights in that community. A total length of 2.1 kilometers of road was also constructed in Amuzukwu by Governor Okezi Ikpeazu as part of that intervention of remediating the gully in Amuzukwu.
Ị ga ebe ahụ ugbu a eziokwu ebe ọ bụ ala bekee anyị ekelele ekele mpụrụ iche kelekwasịghị ma ọ dị ife ọdọ nke ime na anyị ọ bụ ife ịtụnanya. Chukwu gọzie ndị gị na ha na-achị.
Amuzukwu General kelere Okezie Ikpeazu Governor of Abia State. Mmerini arụọ ebe a. Gaa ahịa anyị ndụ before. Mee road. Rụọ anyị hall. Gbapụrụ anyị mmiri. Anyị kelere ya.
Mana ugbu a arụrụ ụdị ụzọ. O mezile even ma mụnwa na-evu ngwaahịa materials dịka cement, aja, rod na-ebubara na-agbada na the village mbi. Dịziri mụnwa easy. And efilm na ọ dịkwara ndị ọzọ easy than ịgbawa gburugburu Amuzukwu ahụ anyị na-agbagbu before. Adị ụzọ ọ maala mma ugbu a. Mmiri zowekwenụ mmiri na-agamacha ụwa. Ma gote arụrụ ihe niile dị very okay.
We have a third site. It is on the road between Amoda and Achara in Umunnochi local government area of the state. Again, Governor Okezi Ikpeazu did a fantastic job there. That was a gully that developed out of the passion to connect the two communities and create a very short cut between kith and kin that were living very close but yet separated by gully.
This road has been a very bad state for the past 20 years and above. Before we can come to local government from Achara, I got Abacha, Lokba, Ba Leru, Ba Round, before we can have access to Amoda. and Kwago, which is our local government headquarters.
Mgbe ebe a dị otu a, anyị bịa ebe a, ndị mmadụ na-ata afụ too much. Ndị mbalachara, onwe ụzọ ha si aga. Onwe ebe ha si ahụta ọbụnadị ire ahịa. Mkpụrụ osisi ha na-eweta n'ubi. Onwe ebe ha si aga ere ya.
Before, ụzọ anaghị aga ya aga. Erosion juru ebe niile. Even bicycle anaghị agba n'ụzọ a before. Ọsọsọ ụkwụ na-aga ya. Before, ndị lọkpala ekwesị ha na-agbala eru were bịa n'ahịa n'ebe a were bịa zụọ ahịa ha gbasozụkwa ha esikwa ebe a mgbakwa expenses ha alaghachikwa back to their place.
His Excellency Okesikpas also came in through our project and were able to remediate the entire gully and also construct a stretch of 2.1 kilometers of road and also did extensive bioremediation, a lot of planting of grasses and trees of exotic species, doing check dams along the riverbed to check the flow of storm water and such that the gully areas that were not fully remediated can heal on their own.
OKC Victor Ikpazo has done a very big job giving us this road. We thank you, His Excellency. Today, you have done it. We say thank you.
One very beautiful one we did at Amoda Isungu, where a building nearly collapsed on the head of a widow, just at the brink. And we came like Christ came for Lazarus. The widow is still singing praises up till now.
After the governor came, he won the case on a Friday. The following Monday, he was here around 10 o'clock and said, no, this house will not go. I'll do some palliative work so that to prevent the house from going.
Governor Kesia did two very frantic things. While we were waiting for the design to be ready, he commissioned the Ministry of Environment to begin an ad hoc intervention to salvage the house of the Okembus. And then when the contract was eventually awarded for remediation, we took off from that gully head. And today, the story of that family is different.
Before long, contractors arrived and did the same thing, palliative work, and saved the house from just immediate collapse. My husband is not around. I'm nobody. I am nobody. And from nowhere, help came without soliciting for it. I'm so happy.
We also have a fifth site. Our fifth site is called Umogele Omoapo in Isialangwa North Local Government Area. Again, that's a gully that developed along a road channel. Governor Ikpazu also intervened, and the entire stretch of that gully was recovered. Roads were constructed within the community, totaling about 2.5 kilometers, and then water crossing facility, a major bridge in the Iyupu stream in that community was built with culverts and stealing basins to drop the energy of storm water.
Na mgbe gara aga ụzọ anaghị aga ya aga, ọtụtụ mmadụ lara ala mmụọ n'ihi mkpokoro ụzọ.
Isi afọ asaa ngara aga, ntụtụ ndị nna anyị wee nwụsịrị n'ụzọ a ngawe nhara mkpokoro ala. Before anaghị aga ụzọ aga.
And alongside that, the governor also did a novel activity in Omoapo. We did what we call water harvesting, whereby you reduce the amount of runoff that collects from buildings that come to the road, because that's what increases the case of gully erosion. So we're able to, through the governor's approval and funding, to do water harvesting in Umogele, Omoapo.
Mgbe ụzọ na mmere mkpụrụ isi ma fet, so governor nyere m hiti akala obi, mezie m obi adị anyị ụtọ, anyị nwe aṅụrị. So anyị kelere ya ekele ndị ukwuu n'ihi ihe ọma o meela anyị. Ụzọ na anyị ekwefola ọgala ịdị otu ahụ. So ya arụọla anyị ya, metara anyị otu ndị mma, anyị adịkwaghị egbu osisi deji atụghechila ama da agafe. anyị ndị adagbusi ndị di anyị ndị adagbusi ndị nwụrụ anwụ ndịkwa ya so ụdị adịkwaghị ụzọ anyị ga-adị mma gboo ọ ga-abụ anyị ga ọhụ anyị were moto otu ndị mmadụ aga ya so Chineke gọziela anyị gọvanọ gọzie okezi ikpeazụ otu ndị mma
ara aga ụzọ aga bete taa okezi ime ikpeazụ mere anyị ga na-aga ụzọ aga nwee ike rụrụ anyị ya anyị agwa anyị na-enwe obi ụtọ na-enwe ọṅụ nke pụrụ iche na okezi ikpeazụ rụrụ anyị ụzọ a anyị si Chineke gọzie ya ugbo atọ n'otu ụbọchị ya gọzie ala ụtụtụ gọzie ala anyasụ gọzie ya n'ụbọchị niile nke ndụ ya
ụmụ nwaanyị ụmụ ogele praise the Lord hallelujah amen obi dị anyị ụtọ n'ihi na gọvanọ anyị bịara bịa mee anyị mma ọ bụ ya anyị na-ekele gọvanọ anyị bụ Dr. Okezi Ikpeazụ ọ bịara bịa mee ala ụmụ ogele mma bịa leta anyị bịa mee anyị mma moto gara agbalaka anyị ochie ala moto adịghị agba ebe praise the Lord ọzọkwa anyị dịkwa ekele ya n'ihi ọdịmma nke o gwetara anyị abịa rụọla anyị ọrụ nke anyị na-atụghị anya rụọla anyị ma iyi anyị rụọla anyị họọlụ rụọla anyị ụzọ mee anyị obe niile ọ bụrụ na ọ bụghị Dr. Okezi ọ ga-ere ya Chineke gọzie ya n'aha Jizọs.
These are huge projects.
They are very huge
projects. So Abia has a serious erosion problem then?
Oh yes, we belong to the gully erosion belt of Nigeria. And we've been tackling it. I think by the end of our tenure, I would not say that we would have dealt with every erosion site, but certainly we would
have done quite a bit.
Yes.
All these development agencies support what the government is doing, and they do their own projects.
There is complete synergy. There is what I call inoculation. When you're working for me, we'll sit down and talk, and I give you a piece of what I'm thinking, and then I watch you begin to develop that as it concerns your subsector. So my champions are those who are able to take away what we are doing, because we can't.
So you first of all try and secure a buy-in into your vision.
Exactly.
Yes.
It takes a lot of time, but I keep doing it. I keep re-emphasizing. You know, some buttons need to be pressed 4 times, others just once, others soft touch. You know, but you have to be at it, because we can't afford the luxury of frivolities and wastages. So everybody has to align. I ask some questions like, if you don't give me the economic impact of what you are doing, I will ask you, have you not heard that a road leading to nowhere is a cul-de-sac? It's of no economic value, you know. So you have to think like me somehow, you know. But I'm happy that the leadership of ASOPADEC and leadership of CSDP,
so they all got a buy-in, and you're all on the same page, looking the same. I think that's a good value of leadership, really, to be able to get people who work with you to understand and get a buy-in to whatever it is you're thinking, because then it makes things easy.
And you see, you can't achieve that by forcing them or bullying them.
True.
You have to achieve it by listening to them. Yes.
Persuasion, conviction.
Yeah, exactly. At times they can make honest mistakes, run too fast on the wrong lane, but then you know this person has speed. All you need to do is to just turn the steering a little bit.
Channel it in the right direction. Thank you very much, Your Excellency. Thank you for your time. We appreciate you, and we continue to wish you well on all your projects, even as you start to wind down this administration. We know, now understanding what your vision and your mission is for the state, we know that it can only get better.
Thank you very much for having me.
Thank you for joining us this week on Inside Abia. And until next week, when we come your way again, treating another important sector in Abia State, it is bye-bye and have a great week.